Welcome to my shop. Let's take a look at my home-built wood turning lathe. I've been wanting to get into wood turning for a really long time, but since I've never done it before, I just can't justify the cost of a lathe. They're really expensive. So I did my usual thing and tried building my own out of garbage. And here it is. It's powered by this washing machine motor. Actually, a lot of these parts are from the washing machine. The motor, starting capacitor, the pulleys, belt. The motor drives this pulley here, which is attached with this adapter to an 8mm threaded rod. Yes, I know that's way too small, but there's a reason for it. It's because I happen to have a lot of skateboard bearings around, and skateboard bearings just happen to be 8mm inside diameter. So I went with 8mm rod. Now you can see down here, the motor is attached to this plate, which is attached by a hinge to my base of a 2x4. That's so that I can take off this belt anytime, and gravity provides tension, so things don't have to be too precise. Inside this block here, this 2x4, there are actually two skateboard bearings, one on each side, and they are pinched up against the wood with these washers, which maybe you can see. It's a set of two washers with some oil in there. Provides kind of a simple thrust bearing, one on each side. And back here I've got another skateboard bearing for support. And up here this is an adapter. I can screw on a chunk of wood. Interesting little piece of wood that I found on the side of the road. Took a couple slices off just to round it up a bit. Here is my fancy tool rest. Didn't really have anything around the shop that looked like a good tool rest, so let's give this a try. You can see everything is extremely low tech. That's just the way it's got to be. So, next thing I need is a wood turning tool. Let's see what I have around the shop somewhere. Let's see. No. Not a chance. That could get interesting. Huh? Why is this even in here? Perfect. A rusty old pipe. But take a look at what I've done to the end. I chopped it off at an angle. Oh, sorry about that. Chopped it off at an angle and then ground, just with an angle grinder, ground a little bevel on there, sharpened it up. Let's see how this works. Alright, let's give this thing a try. Now, honestly, this isn't the first time. I did try just a little bit of this a few minutes ago, just to make sure that I wasn't going to make an idiot of myself, but we'll see how that works. Let's just turn it on and try it. Now, keep in mind, this is only the second time I have ever even held a wood turning tool in my hand. And the first time was about 5 minutes ago. So, I'm definitely not skilled at this. Let's just try it. there were no explosions, really. I did learn a few things. One, probably the biggest thing, is the tool rest needs to be attached to the lathe somehow. As you know, it was moving around a bit. And it's absolutely not a clean cut, but it is cutting. Supposedly making it round. Let me try it a little bit more. Okay, so I tried it for another minute or so. It's not pretty, but yeah, it cuts. It's a lot smoother than it was. Learned some valuable lessons. I guess a pipe does not make such a great cutting tool after all. It is noticeably dulled. That sharp edge is kind of bent over. Not so great. So, some important lessons. This thing definitely needs to be clamped down to a proper workbench. A tool rest needs to be attached to the lathe itself so that it stays put. But I think one of the most important lessons I learned was, yes, you can build a wood turning lathe at home out of garbage. But it's not going to work as well as something that you buy. I learned that lesson over here too with my homemade scroll saw and homemade arc welder, wherever that went. But that's another story.